Hey, this is Trish with Peregrine Designs. When my kids were really little, when I turned around and looked at them in the back seat and they were sleeping in the back seat, their heads were always at an angle that it just looked like it hurt. It was crazy. I could never do that. And I thought that it was just an awkward look for them. But then fast forward years, I saw I want to say on Pinterest, that somebody had dreamed up something really clever, a seatbelt pillow. And so we're going to learn how to do a seatbelt pillow, but it Velcros around the seatbelt, and then your toddler or youngster has something very nice to put their head on when they're really tired. And it's very cuddly and it's very soft and it's great for little kids. And believe me, it's great for adults. It's awesome. So I wanted to show you how to make it. It's very easy, not a ton of fabric. It's a very simple technique. And so stand by, and we'll go ahead and learn how to do a seatbelt pillow. Alrighty. Okay, let's talk about what you need. Fabric, obviously. My suggestion is you go for a flannel fabric, soft, cuddly, not terribly expensive, and you get some really cute designs. This is a frog fabric. This is really cute. And that would be my suggestion. How much do you need? For the front piece, and this is what I call the outside piece that shows to the public. For this piece right here, if you're getting flannel, you will get a 9-inch slice of it. That will be a 1/4 yard of flannel for the frogs. So whatever your outside fabric is. For the back of the pillow, this is the red piece. For the back of the pillow, you're going to need more. So you're going to need a 1/2 yard, and you'll subcut those into 2 9-inch strips, 9 by 44 strips, or roughly, depending on how wide your flannel is. Normally, your flannel is running about 42, 44 wide. Sometimes you can get 108-inch wide flannel. You could use that, but you have to cut it down real hard. Let's talk fabric. This fabric is kind of omnidirectional. You've got a little bit of direction that you can play with on this one. This fabric here is very, very cute, but it is very directional. Your mermaids are going east-west, and I want your mermaids, if I was going to do a pillow and I wanted to be pretty accurate about it, I would kind of want your mermaids to be going north-south. If you have very directional fabric and you can't maneuver around it and you have to put it on direction, for your fashion front fabric, and I'm assuming it's your fashion front fabric, you're not going to need a 1/4 yard. You're actually going to need 1.25 yards of this fabric here because it's very directional. Why? Because I want the run of fabric to be 44, 45 inches long. That's what I need to make this pillow. And 44, 45 inches is 1.25 yards. So you'll need 1.25 yards if you're running directional. If you're running omnidirectional where it really isn't that critical, you're going to need only 1/4 yard of frog and 1/2 yard of red. You'll also need polyfill. You'll need some stuffing, and you can get that at Walmart. That's not a problem. And you're going to need Velcro. My suggestion with Velcro is it comes in black and white. My suggestion is get both because some, like this right here, a black Velcro may be a smarter option. But this one here, I used a white Velcro. So you have that. My suggestion is an inch wide Velcro is great. I tend to have Velcro that I can cut, and I'll show you that in just 2 seconds. I can cut it any width I want. So that I tend to err on about 1.25 inches, but 1 inch should be able to do fine. You just need a container of Velcro. Where do you get it? Everywhere. If you're going to go on Amazon, and I'll show you the Velcro that I use. If you're going to go on Amazon, Velcro is a brand name, so you might want to look for hook and loop. That should be able to zero you in. And just a little bit, one thing that I use, and I'll show you here, this is optional, but this is called Shape Flex SF101. I get it at Joann's, but it's Shape Flex. It's got a cotton side here, but the inside of it is a very nubbly, textured, sandy texture. That's the glue. Why do I use this? You don't need much of this. You just need just a little bit of it. Why do I use it? Because it stabilizes the strap. If you take a look at the strap here, it stabilizes this piece of the strap because this thing's going to come on and off and on and off. and I just want to go ahead and stabilize it. So I use Shape Flex, not critical that you have it, but if it is helpful. So there you have it. So let's go ahead and I'll show you what your cuts are going to be. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this unicorn fabric. I feel like this is fairly omnidirectional, so I think I can get away with this. When you buy your quarter yard of your fashion outside fabric, go ahead and cut it. Obviously, it's a quarter yard will give you 9 inches. But if you've got more than that, just go ahead and do a 9-inch run of your unicorn fabric and set it aside. Because that's going to be, you're going to have a long piece, a 44-inch piece, but you're going to set it aside. You can go ahead, you cut your piece right here. You've got this real long piece. You can go ahead and cut it down the center here. You can cut it so that you've got half. One thing that you might want to do, and I don't see it here. Let me see if it's on this side. Yeah. See the Joann's logo? What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to trim that. It's helpful to trim that because it's just helpful to trim that. So I'm going to trim it to only about a quarter of an inch shows. Okay, so I've trimmed that one, and trim any of the other ones that are showing. With your back fabric, you need more back fabric because it not only is the back fabric is not only on the back of the pillow, but it also makes the strap. So that's why you needed a half a yard of the red. Here is, I'm going to use blue instead. Here is a 9-inch strip here, and here is and then I have a second 9-inch strip here. What I'm going to do is take my first 9-inch strip. It should be 9. Hold on, let me move myself a little bit so you might be able to see it a little bit better. I'm going to put it in half lengthwise. So now you've got a strip that is roughly 9 inches by 22 inches. And I'll put those together. Okay. And go ahead and cut one of those long strips. Go ahead and cut that in half here. Okay, so I've cut it in half. Put one of the halves away. That's going to be the back of your pillow. And then this fabric, you have a short one, you have a 22-inch long, and you have a long one, which is 44 inches long. I want you to take both of them, go ahead and iron them out, and I want you to put them together, right sides together, okay? And on both of them, the short one and the long one, go ahead and put them right sides together. You can go ahead and iron it. Then what I want you to do is I want you to sew a quarter of an inch down both the small one, the short one, and the long one. Go ahead and sew 1/4 of an inch. Go ahead and sew with a 2.5 is probably fine. 2.5 is great sewing. So both of those, and then we'll come back and we're going to turn these into the tube. These are going to be your straps. So we'll turn them into the tube. I've gone ahead and sewn just a 1/4 of an inch and put my right sides together. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do, and you don't need to watch me do this, but I'm going to go ahead and turn this into a tube. So go ahead and turn this into a tube, and I'll show you what to do. Both of them. Go ahead, got a long one and a short one. Make them into tubes. I've turned them into tubes now, and here is the seam right here. Put the seam down the center of your tube and go ahead and press this. Go ahead and press this all the way down. And then we'll go ahead and I'll show you what to cut to make your straps. Okay, this is my shorter length. This is my 22 length. Go ahead and put it together here. Align your raw edges and go ahead and cut right here. You're going to be looking at 6 each straps like this. These are roughly 11 inches wide, It depends on how wide your flannel was. Flannel somewhere between 42, 44 inches, somewhere in there. And so I'm going to need 6 of these because you'll need you'll need this piece and this piece right here. So you'll need 6 of these. So this gets cut, that one 22-inch gets cut. Your long one, your 44, you can see where this is going. First, put it together, raw edges together. Go ahead and do your, sorry, I'm bashing my camera here. Go ahead and do your initial cut. Put it together here, and you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to have another 4 of these. Okay, that's your second strap right there. And here is your third strap. Because I put the seam down in the center, it's nice because you won't see it. You won't see it. But this is what I consider the wrong side now of my strap. All right. Now I'm going to find the center of my strap. Go ahead and take one of them. Put it together. Crease it. Right. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up that crease here. And I'm going to make a line with my chalk right there. That helps tell me where the center is. And let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and assembly line this because it makes it just easy. I've gone ahead and put them all together. And, oh, gosh darn it, I'm so sorry. I'm going to go ahead and just make tick marks or lines on each one of them to roughly designate center. This is not quilting. This is not precision. This is just giving me a guideline of where the center is on each one of these. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my Velcro, and let me show you my Velcro. Here's a piece of Velcro right here. And I'm going to go ahead and make a piece of Velcro that fits, you know, almost edge to edge and gives me a little bit top and bottom. So I'm looking at a piece of Velcro roughly 4-ish inches wide by 2 inches, 3 inches tall. And I'm going to go ahead and fuse each one of those pieces of Velcro. And this is not precision. I just want to stabilize where my Velcro goes. I'm going to go ahead and fuse these to the wrong side of my straps. Because I have my seam right here, I consider this the wrong side. So let me go ahead and do that. Let me clarify. I was re-looking at that video, and I kept on referring to this as Velcro. This is not Velcro. This is your Shape Flex. This is the Shape Flex. So this is Shape Flex. This is Velcro. This is Shape Flex. So what I'm doing is I'm fusing the Shape Flex to the wrong sides of my pieces here. And it's just a very rough cut that just basically straddles the center of the wrong side of my straps. But this is Shape Flex. This is not Velcro. Now we're going to play the Velcro piece. So let's play that on one of these. Go ahead and fold that up here. And this is the Velcro that I use. This is the hook and loop that I get on Amazon. It's 4 inches wide, and I just happen to put them together. This is the white. It comes like this. The hook and the loop come joined together like this. But it's just slightly easier for me to mess with it when it's already put together, so I put it together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut pieces, strips of my Velcro or my hook and loop, and I'm going to cut them, roughly an inch. Remember now, this is critical. This is really important that you understand this. Sew in Velcro only, not the sticky kind. If you use the sticky kind, you've still got to sew this down. There's no getting around not sewing it down. But if you use the self-adhesive kind, the gumminess of the adhesion will completely jam up your needle and your machine will really bark at you. So it has to be the sew-in variety only. Go ahead and make 3 Velcro strips, roughly 1 inch to 1.25 inches wide, depending on what you bought. And what we're going to do is we're going to put them on the stripping. Okay, here is my strap. It's already had the Shape Flex applied to the wrong side. just arbitrarily. You just make up a size that works for you. I've put it together so that the right side is now showing, okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting on my hook and my loop. It doesn't matter which one you put on first. And what I've done here is this is the loop side. I'm going to go ahead and put it on my strip here, my strap, and I'm going to put it about 1/4 of an inch from the fold. This is the raw edge. This is the fold. This is the right side. Put it 1/4 of an inch. Then what I'm going to do is I'll put a clip here to tell me, and I'm going to take it to the sewing machine. I'm going to sew this down, but I'm only going to sew it to one side, to one layer of the strap, just to one layer. So what I'm going to do, and the reason why I do that is because it becomes very pretty. You'll have all this sewing done here, but what the public will see is sewn here, here, and here. You won't see any sewing done here because that's all been covered up because you folded it in half. So put it on here, only one layer, and I'm going to go ahead and sew a box, and I'm going to go ahead and sew a box here, 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 and here. And you're not bad if you come in about 1/4 of an inch and sew a box where you've given yourself about 1/4 of an inch leeway, because when I come back at this again, I'll come tighter and I'll have 2 complete runs at this. And the reason why that's nice is because this gets a lot of business. This gets, it gets opened and closed, opened and closed. So you only have so much time to be able to reinforce this. I'm going to put one piece of my hook and loop here. I'm going to fold this piece up here. So this is actually the right side. It's just got a crease in it. And here is the hook of it, and put the hook in the same vicinity. Apply it to one side, okay? Open it up, and you're going to go ahead and sew a box right here, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've already gone ahead, oops. All right, I've already gone ahead and sewn these together, and you can tell, and then I kept them, the way I sewed them is I kept them where they threaded together, because remember, I arbitrarily cut this Velcro at some width that I thought was about right. So I know that this Velcro or this piece will match up with this piece, but it doesn't necessarily match up with these pieces. So I try to keep them together as a set. So what I'm going to do is we've come this way, and give yourself, you're smart if you're going to make one more sew run. See how much I gave myself? I gave myself a good 1/4 inch along the whole way. You've got a lot of sewing action on the back here, but that will not be seen to the public. So what I'm going to do is I'll take this back to the sewing machine, and on all 6 of my pieces, I'm going to go ahead and sew a 1/4 inch down. Catch this right here. So a 1/4 inch down, come here, sew across, and come up here and sew it finished. And see, make sure that this is the time. Most of this, you don't care what the color thread that you're using, but now you do, because this is what's going to be seen to the public. So if you want to get a compliment, a good thread that'll match this blue, that's a wise choice. So you're going to do this with all 6 pieces, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm done sewing this, and so this is what the public is going to see. So that looks very nice. That's a nice color blend. That doesn't look too bad. On the back side, you can see where I've caught it two times. I've caught my initial run right here, and then I've caught it a second run right here. Hopefully that will keep this where I won't have a Velcro fail over the course of time. I've gotten 2 runs out of this, so that should be good for quite a long time of tugging this on and off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start putting it together. I'm going to keep my pieces together. I know that that's a set. I know that that's a set. I'm going to keep my pieces together, and let's go ahead and now put the front and back on. When you make this with flannel and you've gotten regular 44-inch wide flannel, you won't have any wastage on your back. All your backing and your strapping will be used up. You will have one piece of your unicorns that will not be used, because I told you to take the long piece and cut it in half. So one piece will be extra, and that actually goes to making it again. So that is what you're going to have left over, only one small piece. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this unicorn fabric here, and I want to get where center is. So what I'll do is I'll put the wrong sides together, and I'm just going to do some registration marks to tell me where center is. And what a registration mark is, I'm going to take, here's the piece here. I'm going to go ahead and just snip that corner, but really tiny. Just a really baby snip, amazingly tiny, because it doesn't become tiny. Let's see, where am I? Really tiny. You can see that was just nothing, really small. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open it up, put it right side facing, and you can tell, where am I? There is my clip right there, just so that you can kind of get an idea. Small clip is a good clip, okay? So that is my center of this little 9-inch by 22-inch panel here. Now let's go ahead and start putting your straps on. What's helpful is to have big clips here. What I'm going to do is, I've got the loop piece here, I've got the hook piece here. I'm going to go ahead and put the hook piece, I'm going to go ahead and put that, here's the center right here. I'm going to go ahead and center that. And you know, if you wanted, you could trim this slightly to get that excess off right there. And I'm going to put the center of this piece on the center of my, right here, and that's the hook. And the loop, I'm going to go ahead and put the loop piece on the other center right here. And there you have it, okay? Alrighty, what I've done, you can see what I've done. I've put the hook up and the loop piece down, okay? And they'll go ahead and join like that. You know you're about right in terms of the size here is because it needs to straddle the 9 inches. It needs to straddle. I need to have some extra, and I need to have it straddle enough because once I put batting or I put fluff in this thing, this is going to push it out. The reason why I put the hook up, and it's just a little tiny thing, is because when it gets Velcroed to the back, what gets felt here is the loop, the softer side. The hook, which is harder, is pushed down and you don't feel it. If you feel anything, you're going to feel the softer side. Is it a deal breaker? No. You can do it any way you like. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now I'm going to put my next one up. So my hook here is showing, and I'm going to just arbitrarily make a spot here that's about here and here, roughly equal on each side. And since I have a lot of excess here, I'm just going to push that out a little bit into the seam allowance here. And if you want to trim this a little bit, you can. Go ahead and do this to all three, and then I'll show you what to do next. You know what we're going to do next. We're going to sew them down. All right, I've put all these together, and I know that this is going to work. This is going to be able to accommodate a fuller pillow. I'm going to go ahead and take this to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew it with a 1/4 inch seam allowance on all 6 of these. So 1/4 inch here, 1/4 inch here, do it on the entire piece, and then we'll come back. Okay, I've gone ahead and sewn all of my 6 straps pieces right here, sewn it with 1/4 of an inch. Remember, we're going to come back with another 1/4 of an inch, so you're going to have 1/2 inch seam allowances, but this way I know that I've got these down. I like to do this, and I like to sew them in. You could have not done that and done them all at the same time, but at least this way I have 2 sew lines, and this gets a lot of action, and I'm fairly confident that this will stand up to the test of time. Now I'm going to take my backing fabric, which is my blue, which is my final blue piece, put this on top with right sides together. Okay, wait a minute. Let's see. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead once again and I'm going to clip it. But I'm going to sew it from the other side. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and sew it from this side because I can see where my sew lines are. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in another 1/4 of an inch and I'm going to get a full inch or a full 1/2 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sewing here, and let me get a Sharpie and I'll show you. Okay, what I've done is what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here, okay, and I'm going to come in about a 1/2 inch here. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and sew. I'm going to start here, back tack a little bit, come down, all the way down, all the way down, all the way up, pivot, come all the way down here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and come down about there, okay? What I'm trying to do is make sure to leave an opening that I can get your hand in. You got to get your hand in there because you got to stuff this thing. So go ahead and sew it. Remember about a 2.5, and the color of thread is immaterial. So 2.5 stitch length is great. Okay, I've already gone ahead and sewn everything, so now you can tell that I've got a good solid 1/2 inch seam allowance, and I should have caught anything bad in here, so I'm pretty confident about this. And I've got enough to go ahead and stick my paw through. So go ahead and stick your happy little paw through, and let's pull this thing right side out. Ugh. Come on. Okay, I put you on a pause here. You don't need to watch me do this. Alrighty, good, beautifuls. See, because we did that weird sew job on the strapping, all you see from the public side is that. So I thought that looks pretty good. All right, now you're saying, yeah, but why didn't you clip your corners? Because what we're going to do is we're going to fold those corners in. So put your hands back down there. Grab the corner. Where's my corner? That's my corner right there, and I'm going to show you how to do this. I call it the origami fold technique. Grab that corner, pull it back out. Here's my corner. I learned this in Threads magazine. This has been really helpful. I do this every time I can. Most of the time I can use this technique even when I'm making a shirt or something like that. I can use this technique. But the technique is fold it away on the sew line, fold it, oh sorry, my hands, I'm sorry. You're going to fold it away, and then you're going to fold this one away. Grab it, hold it, don't breathe, don't move. Ugh. Push it down. I'm still holding it, surprisingly enough. I've still got this in my hand. I'm just trying to find the end. Where's the end? There's the end. Remember when you were a little kid? Well, I'm old, so we used to play this little, you folded paper really weirdly and you opened it and it opened like this. It reminds me of that. So this is, my thumb is right here. My thumb is right here. And here I've got this little happy little mouth. Hello. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently push that corner out because I've still got it in my hand or my thumb. I'm going to go ahead and push that out with my fingernail. Just like that. So now you can see that's my thumb right there, okay? And what that does is that creates a very nice corner. There's no bulk, there's no knot of fabric. Why? Because what ends up happening is when you've done that and you folded, when it comes time and it makes a, a fold, all that fabric is at right angles to each other. Can I right angle myself? I don't know. But what ends up happening is that fabric right angles to each other, and there is no knot, there is no ball of fabric. It's just folded on top of each other. Let me do it again. Grab your other corner, which is right here. Pull it back through, just the corner. This was a great technique. I like this technique. This was awesome. Because when you cut, you compromise that corner really hard. So I don't like to cut. As a rule, I don't want to cut at all. So fold it away and fold it away. Sometimes I have to hold it. Find the end. And it takes a little bit of practice to get this thing done. Here's the end. My thumb is right here. And I'm going to go ahead and push it with my finger. Can you see my thumb? And now you can't really feel it, but boy, it's just nice and solidly square. There is no bump, there is no bulge, there is no nothing. So you have a very nice, precise corner. Do that on the other two corners here. If I can stop knocking the camera. Okay, this is looking rather beautiful. I've got everything. I don't have any extra pieces that I haven't incorporated. All my sides are well and truly at a 1/2 inch, so I'm glad about this. I finished with my corners and they look great. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and self-crease this last piece here, because I go ahead and sew this shut. And the reason why I do, because it gets a bit bulky once I start using the batting. It starts to get kind of fluffy and bulky. So I'll go ahead and use the polyfill and I'll go ahead and start stuffing. Nice to use a small amount to do your corners here and kind of get those nicely pushed out and get those full, and then you can go in with a bigger handhold of polyfill. Did I tell you? Let me see. Did I tell you this already? This is a 32 ounce bag of polyfill. I think I had a 50 ounce bag when I was doing a bunch, and I was able to get 9 pillows out of a 50 ounce. So that gives you a judge of, well, how much will 50 ounces get me? 50 ounces should get you roughly 9 pillows. So just for planning purposes. Okay, start stuffing, girl. Okay, I've stuffed, and I think I've got a nice, it's nice and soft. It's not too stuffy, it's not too hard. So I think that this will be very pleasant. I've got my Velcro is doing what Velcro does, grabbing all that stuffing. I think this will be very soft for a little kid. So what you're going to do now is, since we've pre-creased this and pre-ironed it, go ahead and sew it on this piece. You just don't see that sew line very well, so you almost could use whatever thread you've been running with, but you'll go ahead and sew that together and you are done. So I think we've done good work in terms of how to show you how to do this. These pieces here, you already know this, but this piece here, this strap here, before you sewed it in, when it's double folded, just for your planning purposes, this should be, sorry, good Lord, this should be about 5.5 inches long this way. That way you know that when you put them together, they will circumvent, they will be able to finish up and hold that pillow. Okay, so go ahead and sew this and then you are done. I hope you enjoyed the class. I really think it's just a cute idea, and I think it has great potential at a craft show. And I think any little kid sitting in the back seat would really enjoy this. I know it works for me. It really, really does. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day, and thank you so much for watching. You take good care. This is Trish with Peregrine Designs.